Hello and welcome to a random episode of Sextember.
It's Sextember! Welcome back, everybody!
In our previous episode, we made fun of purity culture, and Duane mentioned that he had a purity ring, and that was very surprising. That was something I did not know.
I got the purity ring, but I don't
You had a purity ring?
I had a purity ring.
I didn't
Have we
know
not
boys.
talked
I
about
didn't know
that?
boys had purity
Yeah,
rings. But it was a girl
well,
thing.
apparently I wasn't supposed to take one. I took it from some girl.
Is it my ring? I'm confused. I thought girls have purity rings and they give it to their husband when they get married.
Oh, is that what was supposed to happen? No, I think...
You took it from some girl. What does that mean? Is this a confession?
Not to losing my virginity.
Okay.
And no, I did
stole
not.
A girl's
I did
purity.
not steal a girl's purity ring. They were handing out rings to everybody at some don't have sex before you're married.
Yeah, they
event.
wanted it to be like
purity. I mean, it was a purity
inclusive,
conference.
You know,
thing.
why should just the girls get rings? Boys should get rings too. Okay, cool.
Welcome to our Wonder Family podcast, sharing inspiring stories to encourage families to thrive through life's challenges. My parents believe the best way to build a bridge of connection, awareness, and understanding is through sharing raw and real stories. Now here's today's story with my mom and dad.
I don't think I've ever heard of boys having purity rings. My perception was that girls have purity rings, and girls' purity and virginity, which are simultaneous, is like super important. My perception is that I was supposed to save myself for the one I married, but I couldn't really expect to find a man who was a virgin because that is so rare, and boys are not held to this highest standard as girls in that regards. So the fact that you did wait for me is like, oh. But now to find out that you had a purity ring too, I'm intrigued. Tell me, how did you get this ring?
At a conference.
See, I didn't go to that conference.
I don't know if it was a conference or like it was a special evening. Like it was not just our youth group, and I remember being a special speaker. So I don't know if it was a youth group night that was different than normal, or that we were at a conference at the church.
Everyone was given a purity
everybody
ring?
was given a purity ring.
What did it look like?
I mean, it's a crappy piece of not even silver, like, squishable metal that you put in that was a circle like a ring. It looked like it's not silver, but it looked like a silver ring. Did not look as fancy as this thing you got here.
Yeah, so how it worked for me, I did not go to any conference. I have heard of like father-daughter dance, but probably not a dance because dancing's probably a sin. But like father-daughter banquet purity thing where fathers give their daughters the purity ring or whatever. But yeah, so at some point, my sisters and I, maybe from reading I Kiss Dating Goodbye or something, we discovered that purity rings existed. So we're like, oh, we need those. So our mom took us to the store, probably the Christian bookstore, and we bought rings.
Rings.
I don't know if I paid for it, my mom paid for it.
Because you can purchase purity.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I mean, do you know how many of these probably sold?
I mean, purity is profitable.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't know. If my mom paid for it, then she probably wrapped it up for Christmas, and that's probably what it was. But there we go. It's a cross and some hearts. And
I mean, it's a very nice little ring. It's a lot more interesting than the cheap.
But I forgot about this until you mentioned it. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so now I'm
purity
wondering,
rings.
because I've heard of people incorporating this like in their wedding ceremony, and I don't know where and when that comes into play. If it's like when the father walks the daughter down the aisle, and they're like, who gives this woman to this man? And then she's also like, here, and I give you my purity too. I don't know. I think I stopped wearing it after a missions trip because we were like at an orphanage working with kids and we're like waving goodbye. And I just remember a kid like grabbing my finger and like trying to pull my ring off. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like a distraction if you're working with people in poverty and they're trying to steal my
purity.
It's like 8. But yeah, if he wants to take my $25 ring, it's really not worth that much. But maybe in that context it was. So anyway, I don't think I was wearing a purity ring when we were dating, but I was still pure.
It wasn't necessarily my highest concern.
I think I had deconstructed purity culture a little bit, in the sense that when I was 21, my parents got divorced. Sex is like the worst sin ever, and divorce is pretty high up there as well. And then just watching like my mom's dating relationship and stuff, I was like, did you read I Kiss Dating Goodbye? I mean, I know it's not my place as a 21-year-old to tell you what to do, but it was definitely do as I say, not as I do. And was like, this is not how I intend to do my relationships. So I guess I kind of lost all respect for my parents. So I definitely threw out the whole, like, Before we date, we need my parents' permission.
Apparently you didn't kiss dating goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, because we called it dating at that point. I'm like, this
Definitely
is
dating.
stupid. Well, the perception, I think, still is that dating is like a secular activity and probably involves sleeping together. But yeah, I think I decided at that point that it's like, oh, I decided a few things. One, that I was going to kiss when I got engaged. Two, that my wedding ring is a tattoo. And three, that I don't really care if my parents approve of who I date or not.
Did you decide that before you met me?
Yeah, especially because, I mean, I was 24 when we met. Like, I don't need my parents' permission.
Don't
They
need-
don't know you, so it's not like they can really approve or not approve of you. At that point, I really just valued, like, the insight, not even permission, but, like, having people speak into our lives who actually knew both of us. So when you first told me that you liked me, Josiah and I had a very long talk pacing the ball field because we were acting super awkward around each other because we like hadn't really decided if we're dating or not dating, and we like didn't want people to know, and we like, so he's like, what the heck is going on?
No,
So
you were acting weird in response to me.
Yes, so very, and then I mean, you probably talked to Josiah as well.
Josiah already knew I liked you. Like, we'd
Yeah,
already
exactly.
been talking long
Right.
before I went and said I like you. Like,
Yeah.
I've been talking to Josiah Troy because I'm an awkward boy who doesn't know how to deal
Right.
with these things. Hence why I was 25 and had only dated 2 other girls my entire life.
Yeah. How our relationship started was I was in Idaho and you were invited to come help with a program that we were running, and I was not interested in you at all. And I knew exactly who you were before you got there because you were the loud guy from conferences who was loud, obnoxious, and again, I'm not interested. And then we knew each other for maybe a month, and we were on a road trip, and I suddenly realized that, like, the girls were kind of boring. They're always like, let's paint nails and watch movies in their free time. And the guys are like, we're going hiking and biking and hot springs. And so I was always the two of us and a couple other guys, and it varied which other guys it was, but we did hiking and biking and hot springs and all those fun things. And so suddenly I was like, oh my goodness, every fun thing I've done for the last month, it's always been me and Duane and some other guys. Like, I really hope Duane doesn't think that I like him.
It was almost like a supervised date, except we didn't know we liked
didn't
each other
like
at
it,
that
yeah.
point. We're walking logs.
Yeah, that was a
we
lot of
were
fun.
in essence slightly flirty.
I don't know. I would not consider myself to be flirty at
But
all.
as flirty,
But
well, that's the thing.
as
You're not
flirty as
flirty
I
as all.
don't know how
as
to be.
about as flirty as you don't know how to be. You were fun. You were
Yeah.
playful. This
So-
happened multiple times, and we had lots of great conversations. But I was also in an overseas international relationship and navigating
Well, according to
that.
Facebook, you had been dating.
I was dating
But then you broke
when
up
I
with her.
arrived, and at some point I broke up, and I don't know where in all this, but I was also wrestling with that.
Long distance international cross cultural relationships
It
are
was
complicated.
Yeah, I was observing somebody else doing that, and it made me just
Not wanna
question
do
all
it.
of it. Not one. I already had lots of questions, pre-observing, and I'm like, I don't know what to think of this. And eventually, I just had a heart-to-heart with my friends,
Yeah.
and I realized it was not for me.
Yeah. I think at some point you made a comment that you had broken up with that girl, and I was like, oh, crap. I hope he doesn't think that I like him.
Is that when you went looking for your purity ring?
No, it's not. I just went looking for it now.
I gotta make sure he
no,
knows.
this was literally on the road trip to the coast, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we're hopping in a
2
van.
days later, we got to Mendocino, and we're all like, the ocean. And suddenly all the girls are like, I want to go to the touristy shops. And all the guys are like, I just want to sit on the hill and read my Bible. And we're like, what is wrong with you people? Like, we want to touch the ocean.
It was a setup.
It was a setup.
I told them all. No.
No,
Did
but
not tell them all
you
to do
have
that.
been praying for a sign.
I was, yes.
And
I
you wanted to
definitely
walk alone on the beach
I
with
told
me.
God, I was like, here's my fleece.
So he got it.
Then I got my fleece, and
Yeah, and
we
I was
talked
like,
for
are we
3.5 hours.
We're really the only two people who want to touch the ocean? Like, okay, well,
We could have been
well.
impure in that moment, and no one would have known.
except we were on the
like
beach
super pure on
in
the beach.
public. But we talked for like 3 hours, and it was like the most romantic date ever. And then we got back, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, I had no idea you guys were dating. And we hadn't actually established if we liked each other or not, and I wasn't even sure if I liked you. And that evening, like, the girls are literally planning my wedding. So that is the culture I grew up in, where as soon as you like somebody, you're planning the wedding. That is ridiculous. And I'm like, slow it all down, folks.
And I already knew I liked you at that point,
Yeah.
because of about 2 days prior in Portland. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, crap.
Yeah, you were helping me put beads in my dreads.
Yeah, beads in your dreads and having fun.
Beads and dreads. Scandalous.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so,
so yeah, I think at that point, I valued Josiah's opinion because he was kind of like the brother I never had.
yes.
And then the other thing, when we got back to Idaho, Les was speaking, and he was from Colorado Springs and had known you
Somebody
for a long
who'd known
time.
me really well.
He visited Idaho a lot and knew me. I mean, we didn't necessarily ask his permission or his approval for a relationship, but it was like, if he...
Is he a creep?
I feel like, no, but I feel like if there were, he would speak up. He's someone who would be like, hey, Becky, I know Duane, avoid him, he's crazy. And he didn't say anything, so he actually officiated our wedding.
No, I'm just the loud one. I'm not crazy, but I am the
which
boisterous.
Something in my realizing that I liked you, and I'm sure I've said this in other videos, is just that, like, you know, we have our list of all the things that we look for in a man. And some girls are like, he must be this tall, this hair color, this eye color, and I didn't really have any of those, so I didn't really have something where I'm like, oh, I see him, he is the one. I didn't really have a picture of what he looks like.
Chiseled.
Yeah, and I didn't say that he needed to have, like, ears or cheekbones or anything like that even. That was just kind of a given, but it wasn't on the list, so I guess it's optional. You met all the personality criteria.
That's a good list to have.
It is a good list to have. And the purity and the
yeah.
Christian missions, feels called India.
Fit all.
Because at that point we were both planning on like living in India for the rest of our lives. So it's like, well, we might as well get married and go there together.
The Christian missionary stereotype.
Yeah.
Of being weird but good.
Yeah. No, I mean, so it was all good. The one thing that bothered me was that you look different. And not just that you look different, it's that you like to draw attention to yourself, and then people stare because you look different. And I prefer not to be seen. So, what are you doing? So I really don't like to draw attention to ourselves. And yet here we are, who loves attention. Let's start a YouTube channel so the whole world can see me. And I'm like, okay. And it took I dragged my feet for like 3 years, and here we are. So anyway, like, I guess I realized that I really admired your confidence, and you had every reason, in my opinion, to want to hide. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm so insecure and why I want to hide. It's even really good for me in that regards. I guess I decided, I fell in love with you.
Oh.
And I admire your confidence. And
despite me losing my purity ring.
Did you lose your purity ring?
I don't know what happened to it. I mean, I didn't lose it to somebody. You just
lost
didn't
it.
like rings on my fingers.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know when I
Especially
stopped
cheap
wearing
dollar store rings that are completely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, at some point, I guess I had thrown aside, and in a healthy way, I had realized that maybe the purity culture rules are a bit ridiculous. Because I dated once in college, and I actually felt incredibly uncomfortable holding hands. Because that was confusing, because it was Bible college campus, and so in order to date, you have to get permission from the deans, and it's like a big deal, and everyone knows you're an official approved couple and stuff, but you're still not allowed to hold hands on campus. But you are allowed to hold hands off campus, and he had to explain that to me, because it was very confusing to me. Like, you're not allowed to hold hands. You're like, no, it's only on campus. I'm like, well, and I'm a very black and white thinker. I'm like, it's either right, wrong, sin, not sin. Like, why? I mean, it makes sense now. I'm like, right, you can only enforce the rules on campus. Like, you can't wear shorts on campus, you can't wear tank tops on campus, you can't hold hands on campus. If you're off campus, you can wear shorts, tank tops, and hold hands.
So you can live a double standard life. It's an incredibly silly setup.
You just can't enforce the rules off campus.
Yeah, you just can't enforce the rules off campus. That's true. They want you to live like that off campus, but...
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it is this funny, again, purity culture of like, well, we don't want guys to stumble. So if all the girls are very modestly dressed on campus, boys have a safe space where they're not going to see too much skin. And if they go off campus into the secular world and they see too much skin, like, we can't protect guys all the time. Because you're so weak and pathetic.
Don't go to the beach.
Don't go to the beach.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's context to that and the
context
purity
of
ring.
our dating and throwing out a little bit of purity culture. I think we did, even the whole, like, I still very strongly believe that it is right for you to ask my parents before you marry me and to meet them before we get engaged.
Yeah, I think family, I mean, I wanted you to meet my parents. More so it's like...
Right.
You
But I didn't actually care about their opinions. It was more so because we were planning on living in India. And in India, they always ask, did you have an arranged marriage or a love marriage? And a love marriage means, like, your parents did not approve and you ran off and eloped and got married. And an arranged marriage basically means the guy's parents and the girl's parents, and maybe the guy even asked his parents to ask her parents to marry her. Which is essentially the same as the guy asking my parents to marry me.
Arranged.
That's an arranged marriage. It means that the parents approved and arranged the marriage.
It's a traditional, right? It's a very traditional way of seeking out. And from my standard, I wanted my parents to approve of you because I actually have really good connection and relationship and they know me well enough to meet you and go, oh yeah, she's good for you. Which because my mom knew that right away.
Meeting your parents, let's talk about that. We had been dating for a couple weeks. And so... our first official date was I took you on a bike just on a,
Yeah, we did
a
like
loop. It was like a 10-mile loop,
bike loop.
relatively flat and level. And
It's
people like gave me a
dirt
hard
roads.
time about that. Like, what, you try to see if he's good enough for you, Becky? Can he do this 10-mile bike ride? I'm like, if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. Like,
I
seriously,
don't
I'm
think
not
they
that
realized
ashamed.
I was a biking advocate.
And he said he likes biking, so I took him on my favorite bike loop. Like, and it's mostly level. It's not that hard. So then he took me to meet his parents in Moab, and we went biking in places that I did not know that you could take a bike, like on the side of a hill like this. So you're biking, you're biking like this, because you can't bike parallel because you would fall down the mountain and like die. Yeah, so biking on the sides of cliffs and craziness. And I was like, did I pass the test?
You were very surprisingly good at.
Yeah, I surprised myself. And I was also like, well, your mom is doing this, so I mean, I guess this is humanly possible. But yeah, I passed the test on that crazy
She said she
Moab
likes biking. In my mind.
Yeah, and then I came back and it was like, guys, you gave me a hard time about a 10-mile loop on level ground. Did you see where he took me? The other thing we did that was actually really fun, because we've been dating for like 2 weeks at this point, and like I said, as soon as after our romantic beach walk where we didn't even know if we liked each other, everyone's planning our wedding already. So then we are dating, had a conversation with Josiah, officially dating. But the girls were kind of annoying, like, we're living at like a summer camp.
They're living
running
vicariously through your relationship.
Right. And so literally, like, I would
one.
go use the bathroom and come back and they'd be like, where were you? Did you talk to Duane? What happened? Our life is like a soap opera, and they missed out on, like, they missed a scene. And I'm like, all I did was use the bathroom and come back. I promise I didn't see Duane. You did not miss anything. Nothing happened. So it was kind of obnoxious and over the top. So coming back from visiting your parents, we had this crazy idea of like, let's just play a joke on them and tell them that we eloped. My thought was,
how do I get her ring size?
No, this is the thing. I was like, let's just borrow your parents' wedding rings, take a picture with wedding rings on, and then I guess your parents don't have wedding rings.
No, they don't.
So I was like, oh.
Because they eloped.
They didn't elope.
They just went to the courthouse.
Right.
They didn't even elope.
Yeah. So anyway, we can't just borrow their wedding rings. So we stopped at a jewelry store and tried on rings, and the girls had asked me what I wanted my ring to look like, so I had to try on the correct ring, so now he knew my ring size and what I wanted my ring to look like. We took a picture wearing rings and sent it to them with like the announcement of like, we eloped. So that was fun. And then we got back.
Great.
We should have been back in time for dinner, but we were not back in time for dinner. We got there at like 7 p.m. and our class started at 7 p.m. So we like arrived and like went to class, but there's all this like tension in the air of everyone like, ah! So yeah, it was pretty great.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, so much fun.
Oh, yeah. That was a hoot.
But no, we did not elope.
Should have.
No, we definitely should not have.
Probably not have. Not in that
Because I'm still trying to do the balance of following the rules and doing the right thing that you're supposed to do.
Joke's on you, I had your ring size and favorite ring and bought it a couple weeks later.
I kind of knew that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was in the back of your head. Like, I guess
Yeah.
this is where we get engaged soon.
I mean, I think we even took engagement pictures because we had a friend there who was a photographer, so we took pictures before you went to Colorado. That way we had pictures. So it's like, let's take really good pictures, engagement pictures right now. When we get engaged, we already have...
I mean, we got our whole engagement on film.
Well, you proposing is on film, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
That's engagement, right?
Yeah, when you proposed is when we got engaged. No, we did the whole photo shoot in Idaho. And then you went to Colorado. And
Was that photo shoot was before? No, I thought it was after.
It was before. It was before. Because we didn't go back to Idaho.
It was like a dating...
It was a dating photo shoot. I didn't even tell the internet that we were dating, because that was the other thing. When you did tell me that you liked me, I was like, I'm not posting that on Facebook. I like my privacy too much. But I did tell my sister. The other funny thing, because I had lived in Idaho for like 4 years at this point, is that everyone assumed that we had known each other the entire time that I had been in Idaho, like everyone back on the East Coast. When in reality,
right. They thought you'd known me a lot more than
they thought I knew you for 4 years. They just never heard of you until we were dating. And it's like, no, you never heard of him because I hadn't met him.
To all you who are suddenly surprised at that news.
Yeah.
We only knew each other 9 months.
Before we got married.
Before marriage.
Yeah, but that's okay. We knew each other really well. Like I said, we were working in a ministry
Other than
at a
sleep, we were
summer
pretty much
camp.
together.
We were together from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day. We knew each other pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story time.
So that is, look at that. And that was rated PG. That was a very clean story.
Well.
No need for content warning and viewer discretion advised. And
if you want to watch the viewer discretion, stay tuned.
Still working on editing that one.
Yeah, we're still working on editing. So
deciding how much I actually want to share.
This started with purity rings, and then we went into story mode. Is there any close of thoughts on
Any close of thoughts? We do not know how to end anything. It's great. We'll be
We-
married forever.
Yeah, we went full circle.
We don't end things. Ever. We went full circle.
You be pure with me?
It's upside down, though, so I don't know.
What? That's upside down? I
Yeah.
thought the thing was supposed to be right side
No,
up.
like this.
Oh.
Uh,
So, do you have weird purity culture, purity ring stories? We'd love to hear your stories. If you're a dude, did you get one, or am I the weird dude who somehow thought it was cool to have a purity ring?
Did other guys there?
I mean, we were all there. I'm
pretty.
pretty sure other guys must have partaken
Yeah, I don't know.
in this event
It is
of
funny,
pursuing
'cause-
purity. I mean, it was presented really well. It's so different from your, like, I kiss dating goodbye sense of purity. It's more a sense of vision and value. Like, is this something you want to value? Then choose this. And here's why waiting is powerful. So it was a sense of, that's a vision to live by.
Yeah. Not just a set of rules of what
Not just
to
a
do.
set of rules of not to do. So I think
Yeah.
that sense of presentation is so drastically different of like shame, guilt. It's terrible to an abundant life that is grounded and, you don't have like that sense of shame and guilt coming, right? And I suppose it ends at the same place if you go against it. I don't know. I've never thought through it because that wasn't as weird for me because I didn't kiss dating goodbye.
I don't know.
I just sucked at dating. Because I'm awkward. So if you want to get awkward with us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the buttons, be awkward in the comments, and stay tuned for an even more awkward Sextember conversation where we get down and dirty. Bye-bye!